It's been a week since the launch of Vanguard's multiplayer, and we've got an understanding of what the meta is like inside the game right now. I mean, a lot of the weapons are currently broken, but inside this video, we're going to be going over the top 10 best weapons inside Vanguard's multiplayer. If you enjoy weapon stat breakdowns, weapon comparisons, and just tips and tricks for Warzone as well as Vanguard, don't forget to subscribe to the channels or try to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers. And click the link in the description down below and subscribe to our second channel. We do post tons of extra content over there as well. But like I said, this video is going to go over the top 10 best weapons, and some of these might actually get patched at some point. Some of them are super overpowered. So the first weapon we have is actually the STG-44, and for the class setup we're using the stabilizer. It's going to control the accuracy, and it's also going to give you a bit of damage range, but the accuracy is going to help with that weapon bloom, which is very important. And it's the same reason why we use the M1 hand stop under barrel. It helps with the recoil control as well as the accuracy on the weapon. It does con your hipfire accuracy, but that's not really too important. The 45 round mags on the STG is the best at giving you the fastest possible TTK. We've already made a video breaking down the stats of this magazine attachment, so if you do want to see how your magazines affect your TTK, you could check out the videos that are already on the channel. We use the hollow point rounds, and this is going to increase your limb damage, which is going to make your TTK overall more consistent. We've got the leather grip to help with a faster ADS speed. If you do look at some of the other ones, they con your recoil a bit too much, other than the pine tar grip, which does con your ADS. So you could also go for this one if you really wanted to, but I just think the leather grip is just a good, slightly quicker ADS. You don't really need any more recoil control than you already get with the STG. It's a super low recoil gun anyway. We use the vital proficiency, which is an absolute must right now because this is kind of broken at the moment, and until they fix it, I would highly recommend using it. The fully loaded is what we use for kit. You could choose whatever you want in this slot, to be perfectly honest. For the stock, we're using the fold-in stock, and that is to help with the movement speed overall of this weapon. It does con your initial recoil a little bit, but again, like I said, there's not too much recoil in this gun to begin with. The 2.5x optic is my personal favourite at the moment, especially for slightly longer range weapons. It only cons your ADS, but it does actually help with recoil, so it's definitely a plus there. And then you do want to use the 760mm barrel, and this is going to give you the best possible recoil control on the STG, and that is the best build. At number 9, we have the MP40. The MP40, again, similar to the STG, is one of the first weapons you unlock, so you probably already have most of these attachments anyway. So for the muzzle, you want to use the Mercury silencer, and not only do you want to be suppressed when you're up close in people's faces so other enemies don't know where you are, but it also helps your recoil control as well, which is very handy. And it does con your damage range a little, but that's not too important because it is an SMG. We're using the pistol grip, and that's going to help with your sprint to fire as well as your hipfire accuracy, which is definitely very important for an SMG. Now, it does con your accuracy and recoil control, but when you're really up close in people's faces, it's not going to really matter too much. For the magazine, you do want to use 64 round drums, and that's the 9mm mags. This is going to give you the fastest TTK. It is also going to give you the biggest mags as well, which is obviously something you definitely need. When it comes to the ammo type, the hollow point rounds are just going to give you a super consistent TTK because it increases your limb damage. Then for the rear grip, we use the hatch grip just to help with that accuracy stat. It doesn't con anything else, so it's definitely worth using. You could also go for the stippled grip if you want to help with a little bit of the recoil as well, or you can go for the leather grip just to help with your ADS, but that does con your accuracy. Then for the proficiency, we use the brace, and this is going to help with that recoil control, which is definitely very handy to use. You'll be able to land way more shots with this, of course. Then for kit, we use quick, so it's going to increase your movement speed, which just makes it a lot faster to maneuver in and out of gunfights if you need to. Then for the stock, we're using the fold-in stock. It helps with the sprint to fire speeds and the movement speeds. It does con your initial recoil a little bit. Then for the optic, I use the Model 47. You could also go for the slate reflector. Both of these are really good optics. You could also go for the iron sights in the MP40 as well. They're very clean too. And then for the barrel, for the shrouded barrel, it only cons your damage range a little bit, but it gives you no enemy skulls, and it also keeps you off the minimap as well a little bit, so that's kind of handy too. The rest are going to either slow down your movement speed or give you cons to bullet velocity and damage range and stuff like that, which you don't really need on an SMG anyway. You can also do away with the barrel entirely if you don't want that con to damage range. So like I said, this is the best build for the MP40. At number 8, we have a marksman rifle. Now, if you're not constantly just playing Das House like all the time, which most people pretty much are to try and level up weapons, then marksman rifles in this game are pretty solid, and I hope they are pretty solid when we move them over into Warzone as well. But the SVT is absolutely the best marksman rifle. For the muzzle, you want to use the Mercury silencer for the sound suppression and the recoil control. It is one of the best. You don't really need to use the stabilizer when it comes to marksman rifles, because the accuracy on those weapons and the weapon bloom is nowhere near as bad as it is with assault rifles or SMGs. Under barrel, you do want to use the M1 hand stop under barrel, and this is going to help with the recoil control and the accuracy. The Sakura rounds are the absolute best. It helps with recoil control, accuracy, absolutely everything, but it also increases your fire rate by 100%, which is going to give you that faster TTK. Then for the ammo type, you get the hollow point rounds, which increases the limb damage. You could also go for the lengthened to get the faster bullet velocity, because the Sakura rounds do con your bullet velocity, but I still prefer the hollow point. I'd rather make sure I get that 2-shot kill all the time. For the rear grip, we're using the polymer grip, and that is so you can get the flinch resistance as well as the accuracy over sustained fire. This gun does have a little bit higher recoil compared to some of the other marksman rifles in the game, so you do want to make sure you're able to control it. That's why we use the polymer grip. Then for proficiency, you have to use Vital, because it's basically the best proficiency in the game right now, and it almost guarantees you always get a 2-shot kill with this gun all the time. Then for the kit, we use fully loaded, and that's just so you get the maximum ammo possible. For the stock, we use the crown padded stock. It reduces your movement speed and hip fire accuracy, which isn't too much of a con, let's be honest, but it gives you a faster ADS and better recoil control, which is always handy. Then for the optic, again, I use the 2.5x optic. I think this is one of the best in the game, and I use it on most of the long range builds that I have. Then for the barrel, you do want to use the precision barrel, and that's going to help control the recoil as best as possible, and it also reduces your gun bop, which is really annoying, to be honest. So definitely the precision barrel is the absolute best. At number 7, we do have the best sniper rifle in the game, and if you want to see all the stats behind this, then we've already got guides on the channel, you can check that out. I'll leave a link to those in the description. But the Type 99 is the best sniper rifle in the game, and that is because it just outputs the most amount of damage compared to every other sniper. And as you can see, again, Mercury silencer, because sniper rifles don't have that weapon bloom, because they are sniper rifles, you only fire one shot at a time. It gives you the sound suppression so people don't know where you're firing from, and it also gives you recoil control, which isn't too important on a sniper anyway. We chose the heavy foregrip underbarrel because it's the only one that helps with aiming stability. It also helps with recoil recovery, but it doesn't give you any cons at all, whereas pretty much every other underbarrel does, so you might as well go for the heavy foregrip. For the magazine, the Clouser rounds are the best at giving you the best possible damage. It does reduce your fire rate, which isn't really too much of a con, especially with a sniper rifle anyway. But having that improved damage is going to help make sure you almost always get a one-shot kill. For the ammo type, we use lengthened, and that's to give you the best possible bullet velocity, and it just means if you're aiming for the head, you're almost always going to be landing a headshot. There's no room for kind of error when it comes to sniper rifles, so you want to make sure your shot is landing where you intend it to go. For the rear grip, we use the aim down sight grip, which is a leather grip, and again, it's just so you don't get any other cons to the weapon, but you do get a faster ADS time. Then for proficiency, Vital is absolutely broken, so you want to make sure you use it. It pretty much guarantees that if you do land an upper chest shot, then you're always going to get a one-shot kill, obviously if you land a headshot as well. Then for the kit, we use fully loaded, because we all know that you always run out of ammo with sniper rifles. Then we do use the custom stock, and that's to give you a faster aim down sight time, better recoil recovery, and it also helps you overall with your aiming movement speeds, which is going to allow you to dip in and out of cover when you're using a sniper too, which is very handy to have. It doesn't really give you any cons that are of note anyway, especially for a sniper rifle. A con to hipfire accuracy isn't really that bad. For optics, I actually do use a 2.5x optic, and that is because it gives you a faster ADS time. I don't really need all the crazy amount of zoom that you get, especially inside multiplayer and small maps. You don't really need like a super large zoom optic, and a faster ADS is always going to help your weapon anyway, and it also helps with your idle sway control by a ton. So like I said, this is why I choose to use the 2.5x. Then for the barrel, you use the short barrel. Now it does con your bullet velocity, but we did make up for that with the ammunition types. But it does give you a faster sprint to fire and a faster aim down sight to make this gun a lot snappier, and the Type 99 is definitely the best sniper in the game. At number 6, we have the best LMG in the game, which is the MG42. And the reason why it's the best LMG in the game is because not only do you get a ton of ammo with this LMG, it's the most accurate LMG in the game as well. It's the most easiest to control. And if you're trying to fire through a lot of these breakable objects inside Vanguard's multiplayer, this is definitely the best LMG you want to use. So for the muzzle, you want to use a stabilizer because LMGs do have that weapon bloom. Nowhere near as much as the assault rifles or the SMGs, but it definitely has it anyway. And this is going to help with the accuracy of the weapon, like I said before. The M1 hand stop, once again, is going to help with the recoil control and the accuracy. For the magazine, you want to use the anti-material rounds. Not only does this give you the fastest possible TTK with this LMG, but it also gives you the best bullet penetration as well, and it's going to allow you to shoot through all those breakable objects like I said before. Then for the grip, we use the fabric grip for a faster aim down sight and a faster sprint to fire time, which is definitely needed for LMGs like this. It does con that accuracy stat, but like I said, the accuracy on LMGs is pretty good anyway. Proficiency, you have to use the tight grip. This is what makes this gun actually valuable when it comes to long range gunfights or just using this weapon in general. It's going to help a ton with that recoil control. Then for the kit, we use fully loaded once again. I think it's the best kit to use in my opinion. For the stock, you want to use the S91 MG stock. Now it's going to help with your horizontal recoil control and give you a slightly faster aim down sight speed. Now it does con your overall movement and it also does con your hip fire accuracy, but let's be honest, you should not be hip firing with an LMG anyway. Then for the optic, again I use a 2.5x. You could actually go for the Model 47 or the slate reflector. I just kind of like to use the 2.5x for more longer range rifles. Then for the barrel, you do want to use the 680mm barrel. This is going to help with the recoil control, and it's also going to give you the best idle sway control as well for reduced gun bop, but it does con your sprint to fire and your hip fire accuracy, so you definitely need to keep that in mind. And that is the best LMG in the game. At number 5, we have an assault rifle that I think is absolutely broken right now, and that is the Bar assault rifle. Now this gun kills in 2 shots, and it has pretty much 0 recoil, and if you want to see exactly how it works, you could check out the video on our channel already. But for the muzzle, you do want to use the stabilizer. It's going to give you that accuracy stat, which is very important. It also boosts out your damage range, which isn't really too important inside multiplayer. M1 hand stop once again for the recoil control. For the magazine, you have to use the BMG 30 rounds or the 20 rounds. I would just personally go for the 30 rounds because you get 10 extra bullets. For the ammo type, you have to use the hollow point rounds, and that's going to give you the increase to limb damage as well. For the rear grip, we went for the fabric grip. This is going to help with your aim down sight time, sprint to fire, and recoil recovery. This gun does have probably one of the slowest ADSs for an assault rifle in the game, so that's why we use this grip. For proficiency, you want to make sure you use the hard scope proficiency. This is going to help with the recoil in the game, and it pretty much makes this gun have 0 recoil whatsoever. You don't even need to pull down on the analog stick for this gun at all. For the kit, again, fully loaded. For the stock, this is going to help with the horizontal recoil, and it also gives you, again, a faster aim down sight speed. So that's the pistol grip custom stock. Then for the optic, again, 2.5x optic, helps with recoil control. It does con your ADS a little bit, but it's going to allow you to be pinpoint accurate at those longer ranges. And then for the barrel, we use the 27-inch barrel, which helps with the gun bop and the recoil control. And this gun's an absolute laser beam, and it kills in literally 2 shots. At number 4, we have the Gracey Auto Shotgun, which is absolutely a meta weapon. Now, the world record for the fastest nuke inside Vanguard's multiplayer was actually broken using this gun, and that is why it is absolutely broken right now. And for the class setup, you want to make sure you use the full choke. It's going to give you tighter pellet spread, better hip fire accuracy. The grip, you want to use the pistol grip. Is again going to help with hip fire accuracy and sprint to fire, which is very important. For the magazine, you want to choose the largest mags possible. Now, it does con your fire rate, but we're looking just to take the biggest mags as we could possibly get, and that is the 10-round drums. For the ammo type, you want to use the buck and slug. This is usually the best option for most shotguns anyway. For the rear grip, you want to use the fabric grip. It's going to help with your hip fire, recoil recovery, sprint to fire, and aim down sight time. It cons your accuracy, but that's not really too important at all for a shotgun. Proficiency, you need to use gung ho. This is what makes this gun absolutely broken. You can pretty much run into enemies whilst firing this weapon super quick and just destroy through them, and that is why this gun is so broken. Gung Ho makes this gun ridiculously broken, to be completely honest. You're moving at 100 times your usual speed. Then for kit, you want to use quick just to make sure your sprint speed's even faster, because if that wasn't already bad enough, you want to make it even quicker. Then for the stock, you want to use the remove stock, again for the faster movement speed overall. We're just making this gun as fast as we possibly can to make sure you can dodge enemy bullets whilst you're running into enemies at the same time. And then for the barrel, again, we're using the short barrel. This is going to increase your damage range. It's also going to give the gun a bit more recoil control, so you're able to land those shots whilst you're firing the weapon and running into people. But that is a super broken gun right now. At number 3, we have the Automaton. Now, this is not like a broken OP gun or anything like that, but it's definitely the best assault rifle in the game. It's got the lowest recoil, and it also has the fastest fire rate, and people really like that in assault rifles, and that is why this is the best in my opinion. For the muzzle, you do want to use the stabilizer. It's going to help with that accuracy stat, which is very important to landing your shots. And then it also improves your damage range, which isn't too important, to be completely honest. The underbarrel is the M1 hand stop. Like I said, this is the best when you're using long range rifles because it helps with the recoil the most. For the magazine, we went for the 45 round Sakura mags. Now, this doesn't give you the fastest TTK on this gun. It's actually the closer rounds that does that. But if you're looking for the lowest recoil build on the Automaton, then you want to make sure you're using Sakura rounds. And I don't really think you need 75 rounds. I think that's pretty overkill for multiplayer. Then for the ammo type, the hollow point is going to give you the overall consistency in your TTK. So just make sure you go for that. For the rear grip, we went for the leather grip for a faster ADS. If you do choose other grips, it's going to give you cons that you don't really need, to be honest. For proficiency, the tight grip is the absolute best. This is going to give you that super low recoil. That is why you want to make sure you use this one. For the kit, we use Fully Loaded. You can choose whatever you want here. For the stock, we choose the skeletal stock, and that's just to give you a little bit of initial recoil control, but also improves your aim walking movement speed as well, which is definitely handy with this gun. For the optic, again, for most of my long range rifles, I use a 2.5x optic. It's just the cleanest optic in my opinion. Then for the barrel, you want to make sure you use a sniper barrel, which is going to help with the accuracy as well as the bullet velocity. The accuracy stat's the most important here, and it makes this gun an absolute laser beam, and the Automaton is definitely the best AR in the game. At number 2, we have the combat shotgun, and once again, this is another meta weapon. Now, what makes this gun extremely broken is that if you land one single pellet on an enemy, you're going to get a one-shot kill, which is absolutely ridiculous, especially when it comes to shotguns. And on top of that, it has the best possible range out of all the shotguns that are in the game right now. And that is why it's definitely broken right now. And for the muzzle, again, you want to use that full choke muzzle to help with the hipfire accuracy. For the underbarrel, the pistol grip, like I said, for shotguns is absolutely the best for the faster sprint to fire and hipfire accuracy once again. For the magazine, you want to choose the 10 round mags, again, just so you've got the biggest magazine possible when you're firing off and try to kill opponents. You don't need to reload as much as well. For the ammo type, I would choose the hollow point, and that is just so you get that increase to the limb damage, just to make sure that you're always getting that one-shot kill. Then for the rear grip, we're using the pine tar grip. This is going to help with your recoil control and hipfire accuracy, which again, hipfire accuracy on shotguns is amazing. And the best perk that you have to use is the vital perk. Like I said, this is what makes this gun absolutely broken. This is going to give you that one-shot kill potential, or one pellet kill potential for that matter. For kit, I use quick just to make sure you can get in and out of gunfights as fast as possible. For the stock, we use the wire stock, and that is so you get better hipfire accuracy, and you also get better movement speeds overall. It does con your recoil, but again, it doesn't really matter on shotguns. And then the barrel, again, this is going to help with that damage. You need to make sure you're using the chariot short barrel, and this is going to give you that one-shot kill potential once again. It also increases your vital damage too, and this is one of the most broken guns inside Vanguard right now. At number 1, we have the Type 100, which once again is another meta weapon. There's so many reasons that make the Type 100 the best SMG in the game. First of all, it's got super low recoil, so you can easily use it at those medium range gunfights as well as the close range ones, which is very important because when you're playing Vanguard multiplayer and you don't have a secondary weapon, you want to be able to use this as a kind of medium range gun as well. When you stack this Russian short ammo with the vital proficiency, you get a 2-shot kill, which is like an 80 millisecond TTK, and that's right, 80 milliseconds. That's ridiculously fast. It's just dumb. But even if the vital proficiency was not broken and they do patch it, this gun still has the second best TTK when it comes to all the SMGs in the game anyway. So it's still got a stupidly fast TTK. So either which way, this gun is still broken. And on top of that, the handling of this gun is pretty good too. So for the muzzle, you do want to use the Mercury silencer for the sound suppression and the recoil control. It's just going to help control the recoil of the weapon overall and allow you to be silenced. For the underbarrel, the Carver foregrip here is probably going to be the best. It's going to help with the recoil control, and it's also going to help with the hip fire accuracy because you do need it. For the magazine, you need to use the Russian short ammo. It's going to give you the best TTK for the Type 100, and then it also stacks with that vital proficiency like we said before. Hollow point rounds is going to give you the overall consistency in your TTK. Pine tar grip is going to help with your recoil control and your hip fire accuracy, so it's a good bonus there. It does con your ADS a little bit, but it's not too much of a con. Vital, broken, have to use it. Kit, quick, because it allows you to get in and out of gunfights faster. Stock, I've not really found one that works really well, so I can't really recommend one at the moment. I would just recommend no stock at all. But if you do want to pick one, you can absolutely go for that. Optic, I use the Model 47. I do just think it's one of my favorite optics. You can go for the slate reflector as well. And then for the barrel, again, you don't really need any barrel here, but you can also go for the wrapped barrel, and that's going to keep no enemy skulls and kind of keep you off the minimap as well a little bit, but it does con your damage range. But like I said, you don't necessarily need a barrel on this at all anyway. And this is the #1 best gun inside Vanguard's multiplayer. So there we have it. After week 1, those are the 10 best guns, or some of the most broken guns that you can use inside Vanguard. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we're trying to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers. And click the link in the description down below and subscribe to our second channel. And thank you very much for watching.